Hello everyone, my name is Mr. Bill. I am the Indian Ed Coordinator for Guilford County Schools, and I am from the Lumbee tribe of North Carolina. I am Native American, and I'm going to talk to us a little bit about Native American Heritage Month today. Now, oftentimes when I tell people that I'm Lumbee or that I'm Native American, I often get these responses like, I didn't know Native Americans still existed, or I thought y'all lived out in the West. Well, we do still exist, and we don't all live out in the West. We actually have quite a lot of people who live here in North Carolina, and quite a few who live in Greensboro as well. So let me fill you in real quick. Here's a map of what we now know as North America, and each one of those colors is a different indigenous homelands. Now, most of us know that those lands were taken and Native people were removed, but we still have Native American people that exist today. We have 573 federally recognized tribes. We got 65 state recognized tribes, and we have even more that aren't recognized as well. And that's just in the US. We have many more outside in Canada and in other indigenous nations outside as well. So let's zoom in on North Carolina though real quick. So here we have the map that we were just looking at with the traditional indigenous nations. And we have now what we have are 8 state and federally recognized tribes that exist today. Here we see the different tribes represented by these different colors. So we've got the Eastern Band of Cherokee, we've got the Occaneechi Band of the Saponi, we've got the Saponi, we've got the Halawa Saponi, we've got the Meherrin, the Coharie, the Waccamaw-Siouan, and we've got the Lumbee. That's the tribe that I'm from. In yellow, we have what's called urban Indian organizations. This is where we have a high population of Native American people, and we have a urban Indian organization there to support the Native American people. So here in Guilford County, we've got the Guilford Native American Association that exists, which is why Guilford County is in yellow. Now, in white areas, Native people definitely exist. Those just aren't considered tribal or urban communities for Native American people. So what is Native American Heritage Month that I mentioned earlier? Well, this is every November. This is across the US. Native American people celebrate our culture with schools, with organizations, with businesses, and we share different parts of our culture to help share and educate so that other people can know about it as well. Now, we certainly celebrate our culture all year round, but this is the time where we get to celebrate it even more and share it with more people during this month. Now, you might be asking yourself, well, if I'm not Native American, can I still celebrate? Yes, of course. Here I've got a calendar of the month of November. I know it's kind of blurry, but hopefully you've already seen it to get to this video. And I'm going to explain it here in just a second. But before I do, if I were to ask you, what does culture mean? What would you say? Well, for me, culture is music, it's history, it's the clothing you wear, it's the food you eat, it's how you talk. It's so many different things. Oftentimes, though, for Native American people in history books, they only focus on our history, and even that history is very limited, which is why a lot of people think that we don't exist anymore, that we were killed off, or that we only live out in the West, because those are only the stories that are focused on. And so Native American Heritage Month is so important to me because it shares what other history books and what movies don't always focus on. So let's zoom in on what this looks like. Each day you'll notice that there's a different activity and a different focus. Now, this is a different part of our culture that we're going to focus on each day. So we're going to start with our elders. I want to make sure that we started with them because they are our teachers, they are our leaders, they are the ones who carry on our and share our stories, our culture, our traditions with us. And we're also going to focus on different parts of our culture, some that you might know, some that you might not. So we'll talk about powwows, we'll talk about plants, we'll talk about sports, we'll talk about some kind of hard things like the boarding school and missing and murdered Indigenous women. But and so while that's part of our culture, there's also great things about our culture as well. On Saturdays and Sundays, I have also included times for you to learn more about the 8 state and federally recognized tribes of North Carolina. So during each day, I hope that you click on the link that is in blue and underlined to watch or listen or read and learn about different parts of our Native American culture. Because each tribe and each nation is very different. And so it's hard to capture all of it. And this certainly isn't our whole culture. So I hope that you continue after this month as well. As you're going on, feel free to follow and tag yourself on any pictures. Here are social media accounts, and feel free to use the hashtag there. I'm excited to celebrate alongside with you, and I hope you all have a great Native American Heritage Month. We'll see you soon.